issues when bread and butter players are being lauded as a big deal. Well, I don't know. I think you always need that core of any squad, and
Yeah,
Mitch Clark he's not old, so he's someone who you could easily get 4 years of solid work out of.
he's a lot younger than I realised, actually.
Yeah, I would have had him down at least 2 years, if not 3 years older.
Yeah,
So he's got some experience behind him. He's got some decent performances in. They obviously think Chris Radlinski thinks that's something that they can grow out of there. And yeah, I mean, at the worst case, he won't be on megastar money, so he won't be someone who's going to be costing you too much. I would expect.
yeah. And Bibby had a good game for Salford against us on Friday night. And
Yeah,
again, I thought he was older than 22.
yeah. I mean, he's had a resurgence in the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks where he's really popped up and started contributing. So it doesn't surprise me that he's gone on to bigger and better things. As for the rest of it, it does look like very good business. Certainly tying down Joe Burgess, who was all set to walk out the door, and Tony Clubb, who still going and worth giving a 2 year deal just to keep him secure. It's easier to have him in within the squad rather than having to move anyone on. And the
Yeah,
rest
and
young,
Hankinson was played at Magic and looked good.
yeah. And it's again it's players on the younger side who've got some room for growth in them, and they all
Yeah.
look like good investments for the future.
Yep. So Leeds Rhinos have secured fullback Jack Walker's future to the club, with the 19-year-old signing a 5-year deal to keep him at Headingley until the end of 2023.
And Josh got in touch on this one, a Leeds fan who said, "Now this surprised me. I was under the impression with all the palaver around him not signing before, I thought he was going to go elsewhere. Long contract as well. Not that that means anything to Leeds, but please see us staying. Carry on the good news." Yeah, I mean he's someone who you'd want to tie down. The fact he's willing to, I think it's partly he probably hasn't gone on to the megastar potential that he was probably expected to when he signed his last contract.
Yeah, yeah, he was a big thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's done very well and been an excellent player when he's not been injured. But I think the injuries have definitely hampered him. But I think securing for him for another 5 years, and presumably there'll be some sort of NRL type clause in there that should he go on to fulfil the potential he's got, then he's got to move out. But of course, even then, he'll only be 24 when he finishes that deal, so he'll still be very young and have plenty of time once that's concluded.
Yeah, yeah. So
Anyway, speaking of Leeds, Rhinos hooker Brad Dwyer has signed a 1 year contract extension. The 26-year-old will stay at Headingley until the end of the 2020 campaign and is in his second season with the Rhinos after a move from Warrington before the start of last term.
yep, and Josh got in touch about this as well, and he said the dog is staying. At least some of our informed players are hanging around. I hope these are the players the new our new coach wants. I certainly want them to stay.
Yeah, again, seems Are you surprised it wasn't a longer deal on offer for him?
Um, yeah, I mean a year is not much at all, is it?
No, not for someone who's been a key contributor to their side. Obviously, kicking drop goals as well, or a drop
Yeah,
goal. Um,
yeah,
you'd kind of think he'd someone who you possibly want to secure, certainly on a 2 year deal, if not potentially more.
yeah. I suppose maybe yeah, there is a new coach coming in who isn't sure about him or something. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah. I think it probably is playing into the coaching situation. However, they have signed someone else to a 3 year deal.
Yes, they've completed the signing of Huddersfield back rower Alex Mellor on a 3-year deal. The 24-year-old has agreed to join the Rhinos for the 2020 season after turning down a deal with the Giants.
So Josh has been in touch on this one and says, "I hope Alex can cope with what is to come. I'm pleased this overshadows all the news from recent days. Oh wait, no, it does not. I hope Mark is happy that Wigan may be getting Callum with a scarf over his head. No idea what that means.
Is it to do with when Bibby signed and held the Wigan scarf over his head for the photo, and people were getting very upset over that?
Oh, right, okay, because holding a scarf matters. Um,
Yeah,
it becomes apparent if Alex doesn't perform well, this will happen. Sir Kev off with his head. Yeah, Does it really matter if someone holds a scarf? Surely that's what you expect them to do.
I don't mind that. I think what is in slightly bad taste, which is actually what Hull has done, is putting a photo out there of the new signing in this year's kit.
Yeah, it just looks a bit odd
Yeah, I don't particularly
because
like that
they're not
because they're
going to.
never going to play in this year's kit.
Yeah, and at some point they're almost certainly going to come up against that kit.
Yeah, so I'm not keen on that. Put them in some training wear or something or
Yeah,
whatever. But holding the scarf above the head, that to me is something and nothing really.
yeah, I think that's pretty standard. Either that or the fake bit of paper that they sign, the
Yeah,
blank bit of paper that because yeah, now cameras are good enough that can pick up what's on the contract. I think that happened to someone in football that the whole contract got released because of someone actually putting the actual contract in a photo.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Anyway, on to some more retirement news with Catland Dragons former Australia international and New South Wales Origin representative Greg Bird retiring at the end of the season. Bird won the World Cup with Australia in 2013 as well as a State of Origin series with the Blues in 2014. The 35-year-old was also part of the Catland side which won the Challenge Cup in 2018, although he missed the final through suspension. And we had some views on this.
Yep, Tom Andrews says, are we sure he's retired or is he just going to act retired, then make a pop straight back up halfway through next season?
Well, I would expect he'll probably will have retired because he'll be going back to Australia. Although he's the sort of guy you could see playing for a sort of Queensland Cup side or New South Wales Cup side until he was in his mid 40s. So it wouldn't surprise him if he did have a break of a year or two and then appear at somewhere random like the Tweedhead Seagulls or something similar.
Yep.
Um, and Paul Chamberlain also got in touch to say should halve the Catalan penalty count next season, won't miss him moaning like a tuck pig every game.
Yep.
I don't know what a tuck pig is,
No, I don't either.
but I'm guessing it's something that moans a lot. He definitely is one for getting in the referee's ear. Also, with his moustache, he just looks like he's about to moan at any point.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the next word you expect is something that's not going to be particular thing. Speaking of then someone who looks like they're 35.
Yep, Wakefield have handed winger Lee Kershaw a new 1 year deal. The 20-year-old broke into the Trinity side over Easter and has gone on to make 5 appearances for the club. Josh got in touch again to say the oldest, youngest man in rugby league, Kershaw was the catalyst to Wakey's last home win against Leeds. Why would you not want to sign Kershaw? Maybe for a biscuit plus with ice cream. I'm sure it was good business by Wakey as always.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to be a solid one to tie down to get in. Obviously, he's only just broken in, so I think 1 year deal is probably a good idea. But yeah, and
You'd expect them to up that shortly, wouldn't you?
yeah, I think you can. Yeah, it's the sort of one you'll see at the beginning of next year that if he carries on as a regular in the side, he could well. But how he's only 20, looking at him,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one for the Stanley Jean files, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
So a bit of a controversy next.
yeah, an interesting one that's been breaking this week. And the Rugby Football League has begun an investigation into allegations that Toronto Wolfpack owner David Argyle racially abused a Swinton Lions player, Jose Kenga. In a social media post, Kenga said that Argyle asked him, do they allow black people in Swinton, following the sides meeting in Toronto on the 28th of April. The RFL's compliance department has said it will look into the incident. We have a zero tolerance approach to racist behaviour of any type, said the RFL. Argyle has since sacked himself as the club's chairman and chief executive after making the racist remark to the player. Argyle has apologised on Friday, and the Australian mining tycoon has written an open letter saying he will step down. In the statement he said, I understand the unwitting racist connotations of what I said and the distress caused to Jose. He said, I was incredibly careless with my words. If any other member of our Wolfpack family had made that comment I made on balance, regardless of the context and environment, I would have fired them. Therefore, that also applies to me, so I'm firing myself as chairman and CEO. I leave with a heavy heart as I've disgraced rugby and my family, which I love.
Yep. Tom Andrews said, very strange move. Don't think he's done with Toronto Wolfpack there. No place in our sport for racism there. Very similar thing happened to the last LA Clippers basketball owner, and that cost him his team. So what's your take on that then?
I see. I'm in two minds in this. There's no question that that remark has no place anywhere in society, yet alone anywhere to do with rugby league. We hold ourselves up as this moral, extra moral standard of being the greatest game and not being like other sports. But when you see this, that it's you've got no case to argue in that regard. And yes, fair play to David Argyle. He's taken decisive action quickly to kill the story and move on from it. However, I'm almost of the opinion, and this is my own opinion, that is it an overreaction in some regard that actually he'd be better off learning from it properly and moving forward and just getting on with things and making a commitment to stamp that sort of thing out the game and just be very clear about it. I'm not in any way excusing it, but I just think this culture that we're creeping into of one mistake and you have to go and that's it is a bit damaging and doesn't actually help anybody in the long run. If you can reform and show that, show suitable contrition, which he had done, and then move on, is that actually more healthy in the long run? In my opinion, yes. But at the same time, I can fully understand and fully support why he's done what he's done. My worry is that with him go the Toronto project, because he is obviously financing it and whatever, will that just disappear and will this cause more damage in the long run?
Yeah.
What's your take on
it? Yeah, I mean, it clearly is, as you say, it's a comment that there's no justification for. I do wonder whether he was I don't suppose he meant it as racist, but I wonder whether it was more actually a dig at sort of northern provincial rugby towns.
Yeah. That's
rather than it being
across.
Out and out. I'm having a go at a black person. As you said, yeah, I do think we're very quick to jump on people, oh, he said that, sack him, sort of thing. And I feel that that's why Argyle stepped down as he has, because he was expecting that sort of repercussion and he's anticipated it and jumped before he was pushed in anyway. But I think that that's the way that society is generally, isn't it, with anybody that makes a mistake. So, yeah, you sort of commend him for doing something positive, but I don't know what this means long term, not just for Toronto, but just what happens the next time somebody on a rugby pitch calls says something negative about black people, or just anything like this. Does that mean that that's the end of their career?
Yeah, I think it doesn't sit entirely right with me that's just the disposable kind of nature of things, that people are just disposed of. They aren't taught to be better, and I think that's that should be what you're looking for.
Yeah, whether he had said I'm going to step down for a period of 6 months or something.
Yeah, possibly, or something something different along those lines. But and it's the context of it as well, and that sort of atmosphere where, let's be honest, he'd probably been in and around the bar area before. It's that sort of atmosphere. It's that part. He probably was trying to be David Brent, and it really didn't come off. And it was a bad attempt at humour that just wasn't funny and was way over the mark. But in that moment, he probably thought he was being funny, and it was probably done not with any malice intended.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think, he probably thought he was being funny. Maybe he'd had a bit too much to drink.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on and move straight back to the Wolfpack with
Yep.
with the news on Toronto forward